Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 148 of Crunch Time with the N326 duo. I'm your host today, Sam Godsey, and with me today, as always, is Tanner Dislin. Tanner, how are you doing tonight?
Sam, I am doing pretty well. We had some ugly football over the weekend. Watched a lot of ugly football. Both of us did, actually, with the way our teams played this weekend. But, of course, we're going to cover it all, and I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a ugly weekend for our teams across the board. Unfortunately, my teams both lost. Your team somehow managed to get a win in the ugliness. But yeah, ugly football. Unfortunately, it's another kind of ugly slate for football coming up again this week. But men's college basketball, women's college basketball is back. The NBA Cup is underway.
Whoa, get ready for those courts.
So, unbelievable time to be a sports fan. But we talk about that and so much more on episode 148. But Tanner, let's kick it off as we always do. Who is your winner of the episode?
Yes, Sam. I mean, we talked about, obviously, we didn't have an episode last week, so we got a couple weeks worth of content to look at. And to be honest with you, I struggled to come up with a winner. A lot of stuff happened that, the negative stuff always makes the headlines. So you know what? My winner is going to be fans of bad football teams, because Sam will start in Chicago. Obviously, vibes are not good in Chicago now after the Bears got absolutely ransacked by the Patriots. You heard that correct. The New England Patriots beat the crap out of the Bears. So they decided it was time to make changes, which obviously was way past due. Yeah. And they went ahead and fired their offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy. So I know that's something Bears fans have been calling for. I mean, he's been really bad at his job thus far. The offense has really sputtered recently and basically had nothing going against New England. So fans of the Bears, I mean, I know a lot of them think there's a bigger issue with the head coach and the ownership, but you got a coach that wasn't working out gone. So that's worth celebrating if you're a Bears fan. And then heading over to East Rutherford, New Jersey, Sam, it seems like the Giants might finally bench Daniel Jones after every single week this year. Brian Daboll has said Daniel Jones is our starter. Daniel Jones is our starter after a pretty embarrassing performance last week against the Panthers in Germany. Brian Daboll said we're going to evaluate the QB. So it looks, all signs are pointing to Daniel Jones being benched, and even Adam Schefter said his guess is that Daniel Jones never plays another game as a New York Giant. So if you're a Giants fan, that's got to please you big time. That's got to please you a lot. Although there's if you put in their backup is Drew Lock, who has won NFL games before. If you put him in, do you win too many games, you lose your pick.
Yeah.
However, Sam, if Daniel Jones keeps playing, but he gets hurt, his contract flips into guaranteed money.
Oh.
So the Giants pretty much have to bench him, make sure he doesn't get hurt, so that they can cut him next year. So it's not a good situation for the Giants. But if you're a Giants fan, the good news is you're our winner, because you have probably watched the last of Daniel Jones in a New York Giants uniform, and that's worth celebrating.
Yeah, absolutely. For my winner, I'm going to go to the college basketball realm of things. As y'all all know, we are all huge college basketball fans on this podcast. And Tanner, the main basketball team, took a visit to Cameron Indoor at Duke University. By any chance, did you see the manager of Maine?
No.
So this man is his name is Simon Allen. Watch this video, Tanner.
Oh, that's a manager.
Yeah, manager. He so for those of you who haven't seen the video, this dude is throwing down like NBA warm-up dunks, like windmills at oops to self. that kind of stuff. Just absolutely putting on a show for the Cameron Crazies. The Cameron Crazies were going nuts. So, y'all shout out Simon Allen.
Dude. Imagine you're a manager for Maine college basketball,
right?
And you're making the Cameron Crazies go nuts.
Yeah, it was super cool. We'll repost it on this social media so y'all can all see the video. But shout out Simon Allen, man. He was putting on a show for the Cameron
That
Crazies.
rocks. That rocks.
But let's flip it over to the other side of the coin, Taryn. Who is your loser?
Yeah, Sam. So my loser, mine's going to be comments to the media, because there were a few people this week who decided they needed to go to the media on some issues and let their frustrations be known. And let me tell you, every single time it doesn't come off as a good look. So we'll start in college football. One of the better games over the weekend was BYU and Utah. Obviously, BYU undefeated, top 10, playing great football. The Holy War is what they call it, against Utah. I mean, big time rivals, and it looked like Utah might win. A late safety looked like it sealed the win or what would have been a safety, but then the refs seemingly halfway through the play blew it dead and said, "Oh, someone took a timeout or something." Then later, when they actually did get a sack Utah got a sack to seal the win, they threw a flag for a hold, which, looking at it in real time, it didn't look like much. There's an angle that shows there was a grab. There's an argument could be made that it was a little light for given the situation, but also, the people who argue that, there's also a group that argues if you got to call it no matter what the situation. Yeah. So it's one of those where it was a controversial call, but you can see where the ref was coming from.
Yeah.
And the Utah athletic director decided he was going to let it be known his frustration with the refs. There's a clip of him going up to the ref who used to be a Pac-12 ref, and he went up to him and said, "This is why the Pac-12 fired you," which is pretty intense. And then he demanded time at the podium.
There you go.
At in the press conference, and he said, "This game was absolutely stolen from us. We were excited about being in the Big 12, but tonight I am not. We won this game. Someone else stole it from us. Very disappointed. I will talk to the commissioner. This was not fair to our team. I'm disgusted by the professionalism of the officiating crew tonight."
Yeah, not great. Not great.
So, I mean, obviously, we all know the hefty fine that's coming their way, especially coming after not only the officiating crew, but the conference.
Yeah. And
saying you were excited, but tonight you're not. Like,
that's crazy.
That was a crazy comment. And then even just like looking at the game, because, everybody knows calls like that are frustrating when you think it went against you. But football games never, ever come down to one play.
Yeah.
The Utah quarterback had 112 passing yards. Refs didn't do that. He had to throw a pick. Refs didn't do that. They had they lost a fumble. Refs didn't do that. All of those things could be cleaned up, but you know how that goes with sports. So definitely a loser to for an athletic director to come out and say that. Now, Sam, my next one, unfortunately, has to do with your Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons definitely had some comments after their loss to the Eagles. Now, obviously, we kind of knew as soon as the Dak injury was announced this was going to be a lost season. It was already looking that way before Dak got injured. Now, he decided to he had some comments regarding the future of head coach Mike McCarthy that, came off as a little, what's the word? Abrasive, maybe. Basically dismissing dismissing all comments about Mike McCarthy and was just like, I don't feel bad for him. I feel bad for guys like Zach Martin, who might be on their last year on their way out, because that's who I wanted to hold the trophy for. It's just not good.
Yeah.
Talking about your head coach like that. It's not good. I know I can't say anything that hasn't been said. I encourage you. I mean, Rex Ryan and Damian Woody were not happy with Rex Ryan or with Micah Parsons' comments. Emmanuel Acho, another one who was not happy with his comments. But yeah, seemingly throwing your head coach under the bus on a tough year for everyone when you've been hurt.
Yeah.
And your first week back, it's definitely not a good look for Micah Parsons. And then my last one, this one isn't necessarily to the media, but it's Michael Thomas. It's got to be Michael Thomas. The Saints, they did not have a good game. Was that on Thursday a few weeks ago? I think this was, I guess, 2 Thursdays ago.
Yeah.
And this was 2 Sundays ago, I think, when Olave got hurt.
Yes, yeah.
It was when Olave got hurt. Obviously, he's had so many concussions. He's seeing a specialist, which is good for him, and he can take some steps away from the game, make sure he's okay to continue. But Michael Thomas decided that was a good time to go to Twitter and tell everyone that Derek Carr effing sucks, that all he does is put his wide receivers in bad situations, that he's trash. And Derek Carr had some comments afterwards saying, I tried to reach out to him. I don't know where this is coming from. He never said anything to my face, but, So
yeah,
that was kind of a long one, but a trio of people who decided it was smart to go make some comments either to the public or to the media. That really is just not a good look.
Yeah, the Micah Parsons one obviously irks me a little bit, being a Cowboys fan. Sure, if you've been playing the past couple of weeks, sure, you can express your frustration with the play call. That's cool. But you haven't played in like 5-6 weeks. And the minute you come back, you're already complaining. It's kind of crazy to me. But I guess the loser of the episode can also, just as a round whole thing, can be people talking to media, Tanner, because my loser is Kirby Smart.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh
my God, yeah.
So
how did I not put him in mind?
Oh
my God, yeah.
So a little background story. Obviously, Georgia got upset by Ole Miss. And obviously fans rush field. As every upset, there's videos going around, and there's a Georgia player scene kind of almost not celebrating, but excited on the field with some Ole Miss fans. That man was Jake Pope. And basically what came out of it, they asked Kirby Smart about it after the game, and he goes, one idiot. One idiot. Kept saying it. But what has he said? All the times he's had players drunk driving, excessive speeding,
break the law, get arrested, almost kill someone, all of the above.
Not really, just
absurd. Just absurd.
Yeah,
I mean, can they hear it?
Yeah, basically what he said, I don't know if y'all could hear that clip, but he said when someone got arrested, the kids just need to make better decisions. I feel like those should be flipped. Jake Pope came out after.
He had a notes app, didn't he?
Yeah, he wrote a notes app, basically saying sorry for the way it was taken out in perspective. In no way, shape, or form will I ever celebrate losing. But my longtime family friends came up to me unexpectedly after a game as I was trying, and I was extremely excited to see me. They were extremely excited. I was also surprised. So that's a reaction you saw. So it really didn't have anything. And he's really close with a former teammate and a longtime friend on the Ole Miss. So
That really
it's just crazy.
That really bothers me.
Yeah.
That really bothers me. The fact that he thought he had to release a notes app apology for saying hi to family friends. Meanwhile, he's at the school with far and away the most arrests, the most vehicular laws broken.
Yeah.
Just really irks me. And the difference in handling it, as you highlighted, is insane. Just really, really irksome. So who knows? I don't know. I mean, he's obviously a great football coach and their program's in a great spot, but man, that is grounds for firing, in my opinion. The way he handles all of that is just really, really frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. But that will wrap it up for winners and losers of the episode. Let's kick off, Tanner. Let's talk about it.
Whose ball?
Schroeder goes down to Oxford. And as we previously mentioned, drops to Ole Miss 28-10. Give me your thoughts on this one, man.
Yeah, dude. I think it's it's now fact. We are now certain of something. I think in the past you may have been certain of it before this game, but I was back and forth. The question I'm referring to is Carson Beck bad? Yes, he's bad. He played very bad. He only threw for 186 yards and one pick. The offense could not get anything going. This is against Ole Miss, guys. I mean, this is not a high quality defense. On the other side of the ball, they couldn't run the ball. They only had 60 rushing yards. Their leading rusher had 47 yards on 12 carries. That's not even 4 yards a carry. I mean, top to bottom, the offense really could not get going. And this was an absolutely must win for Ole Miss. I think this was the type of offensive performance we thought we would see from Ole Miss. I mean, this is a good Georgia defense, obviously. They put up almost 400 yards, really controlled the game offensively, both through the air, on the ground as well, 133 yards on the ground. So, I mean, this is the formula for Ole Miss. This is what we thought we would get. And Georgia, man, it's just another year where at this point, is anyone good?
Yeah.
In college football? I would say probably Oregon.
Oregon's about the closest thing, right?
But and they had a scare against Boise State. Maybe Ohio State, they had the scare against Nebraska. I mean, it's just another. The SEC is cannibalizing itself, and at the end of this game, I'm sitting there thinking, is anyone good? Really? Yeah,
absolutely. And to Ole Miss's credit, man, it seems they are getting hot at the perfect time, Tanner. I mean, taking care of Georgia, beating the crap out of Arkansas, who beat Tennessee not too long ago. They did, and losing to LSU and OT, it's you kind of mentioned it, Tanner. Self-cannibalization is what
the SEC is.
The SEC is, right, man. But it seems this offense that we always kind of thought, like we all knew Jackson Dart was one of the better quarterbacks in college football this year. Is just, when is he gonna start being the player everyone thought he was gonna be, right?
And what's absolutely crazy to me is heading into this game, I think the outlooks on both these teams were completely different. Ole Miss, it was what happened to this team. We thought they were going to be really good. And then for Georgia, obviously the win against Texas not too long ago, we're like, okay, now this team can really start rolling. They're 7-1. And now this one game goes to Ole Miss. And Ole Miss is 8-2 and Georgia's 7-2. The loss column is what matters here. And they're the same in the loss column.
Yeah.
So I think this was an absolutely massive win for Ole Miss, and I think their season's back on because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, though, let's talk about another massive upset down in ACC country. Miami finally drops a game, 23-28 to the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. Talk to me about this one.
Yeah, it seems like this has been a long time coming with Miami. They have been flirting with disaster all year long. And it finally came. And Cam Ward was so awesome.
Yeah.
He's so good at football. The thing here with Miami, and it's going to be the story, It's going to be the story this entire season. The rest of it heading into the playoff is just what can this defense do? How much can it give this offense? I mean, some of their games this year. I mean, looking at Louisville, 52-45, Duke, 53-31.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cal, 39-38. They score so many points, but let up so many points. So, the defense is the main issue here. Specifically in this game, it was Georgia Tech's ability to run the ball is what did it. So, I think that's when you can't stop the run, it makes the game really hard because it's easier to run the ball than it is to throw the ball. So if you can't stop the run, there's nothing you can do. And as you can see, Haynes King put 93 yards of his own, and then Jamal Haynes, the running back, put in 83 yards on 3 carries.
Yeah.
So just a complete dominance on the ground, and that Miami offense, man, that Miami defense just needs to be better and get the ball back to their offense, who's one of the best in the country.
Yeah. No, I think you nailed it on the head. And with such a tremendous running attack, you just keep the ball out of Cam Ward's hands. And that's really why Georgia Tech won this game. Because they just ran the ball extremely well, extremely efficient, kept the clock ticking. And it's not that Georgia Tech played tremendously on defense or like in the past. It literally came down to, can you stop us from rushing the ball? And frankly, no is the answer.
Yeah. And then I also want to throw in there, the stats don't tell the story because technically Miami only had 1 turnover. But if you really look at it, they had 4 because they had 3 turnovers on downs. And the drives that ended in turnover on downs were 7 plays, 8 plays, and 11 plays. So that's a total of 26 plays run just to turn it over on downs. Can't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. But Terry, let's move on. Let's go down to SEC country. In a game, a lot of people thought we're going to go back and forth, going to be a close one. Alabama. Dominates the Bayou Bengals of LSU 42-13. Tanner, give me your thoughts, man. It seems these past couple of weeks, Alabama's not the Alabama we've seen under Saban, with close wins against South Carolina, losses to Tennessee, and then these past couple of weeks, Missouri and LSU, they've just kind of taken care of business.
Yeah, Alabama remains to be the most impossible team to figure out. I mean, you literally saw it within one game against Georgia. First half was this Bama. It was the dominant Bama. The offense was rolling. Jalen Milroe looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And when it's bad, it's bad. In the second half against Georgia, when they got outscored a lot to a little and almost blew that big time lead. So I don't know how to figure out this Bama team. I don't know if I assume teams won't want to run into them in the playoff because they're certainly going to make it now. Barring tragedy down the stretch, they're ranked 11. We'll get in our first college football playoff ranking here on the TV, actually. So we'll see where the playoff committee has them, but seemingly in the playoff for sure. I don't know what the outlook, like if they're going to be a team you don't want to run into, but they're impossible to figure out. And then with LSU, can you name me a time when Brian Kelly has won a big game?
Yeah.
Between Notre Dame, between LSU?
No, I can't.
Ole Miss last week, I guess.
Maybe if you want to consider, but
that's it.
Just two guys that can't win a big one until
something's got to give.
Yeah,
it was not. Yeah, and like it's pretty crazy, man. It's pretty crazy how Brian Kelly's lack of success, and obviously he's not at Notre Dame anymore, man. So you can't, obviously Notre Dame's not like a terrible program, but I would say they're a pretty good program, but I don't think they're going to get, this is not LSU, right? LSU's an A1 college football program, and blowing these games at LSU simply can't happen. So the enigma of Brian Kelly, I didn't really understand the hire, if I'm honest, and the enigma of Alabama too. Who knows what the hell team's going to show up on any given day?
Absolutely, Tanner. But it's time to talk about it. Iowa loses to UCLA at UCLA 20-17. Tanner, it's gotten rough these past couple weeks with Iowa. Brendan Sullivan was named starter coming into this game. Everyone was excited. He brought a new dynamic. He didn't look great Saturday.
No. And LSU falls to number 22, by the way. 22. But yeah, so I mean, I have a million thoughts on this game. Number one, I don't know what the hell happened in the trenches. This was, Iowa was number one rushing attack in the Big Ten. You had Caleb Johnson, who, as we've said at length, is the second best running back in college football. You had UCLA, who was the worst rushing attack in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
One team rushed for 211 yards. One team rushed for 80. Guess which one had the second best running back in college football?
Yeah.
You guessed it, the team that rushed for 80. The Iowa's performance in the trenches was abysmal. They were getting dominated on both ends. And Brendan Sullivan was never comfortable. He tried to improvise. He tried to do too much, I think, and he failed to protect himself. And he took a few shots he probably didn't need to, and sure enough, came out of this game with an injury. And then once you put in Jackson Stratton, you knew it was going to be a tough hill to climb.
Yeah.
So it all starts with the trenches, and because of that, having to make a quarterback change due to injury and not being able to stop the run, as I just said, it's easier to run the ball than throw the ball. So if you can't stop the run, they're just going to run. And then on the other side of the ball, man, the defense. I don't know. I just don't know what happens when this team goes on the road, but the defense doesn't show up. It happened the first half against Minnesota. The defense didn't show up. It happened completely against Michigan State. The entire game, the defense didn't show up. And then now, the defense just did not show up. Over 400 yards to UCLA to Iowa's 260-ish.
Yeah.
The lone bright spot was Jacob Gill. The lone bright spot.
Yeah.
Who had 6 receptions for 138 yards. So good game from him. Everything else was bad, top to bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Jacob Gill had a good game, finally got going, but you'd like to see him get in the end zone at least once with 138 yards. Didn't happen. But I mean, it's same story, different week, same bullshit. Somehow, some way, a team that consistently has top 10 defense cannot recruit a damn quarterback. We thought Brendan Sullivan was the answer. I do agree with you though, Tanner. He just didn't seem comfortable that game. Was he banged up before the game? That's a question I think some people are wondering. But just the inability to bring in quarterback talent has been evident ever since, honestly, probably Nate Stanley in whenever he joined late 2010.
Oh yeah, I mean it's 3 or 4 quarterbacks. Oh my gosh, Georgia's the first team out.
Wow.
Oh man.
Wow.
Wait, but that has a 12 and Boise State has a 13. But Boise, I don't know how this works. But yeah, looks like Georgia might be the first team out. But yeah, you said it. The inability to evaluate quarterback talent for a while now is really frustrating. But the story this season, man, is I've never been here before where the Iowa's offense as a whole this year has been very good.
Yeah.
Multiple games, 40 plus. We all know the story. We've talked about it at length. Holy crap, this Tim Lester guy knows what he's doing. The offense as a whole has been awesome. The defense, man, where is it?
Yeah.
You tell me last year, after we go through what we went through last year, won as many games as we did with Deacon Hill as our quarterback, and we go, next year, you're going to score 40 plus 3 times. You're going to have a top half offense in the Big Ten. And with all the new teams coming in, you're going to be one of the better offenses in the Big Ten. We're going to be like, that's awesome. We're going to go undefeated. You're 6-4. What the hell happened to the defense?
Yeah.
What the hell happened? Because this defense is not last year's defense.
Yeah. And like the guys we all thought were going to be those guys. I mean, we all expected Xavier Wampa to be the guy who stepped in Cooper DeJean's shoes, kind of been the guy with guys like Josh Jackson,
Desmond King,
the notable names that get drafted first, second,
Amani Hooker,
and
Belton.
Like, where has he been since he stepped on campus,
Yeah.
Tanner? He has not been impressive. Seabass,
not a peep from him all year.
Quinn Schulte's had here and there games. Jay Higgins, I mean, it just, I don't know. We had 2 of the best linebackers in these past couple of years with Nick Jackson and Jay Higgins, kind of the anchor to the dominant defense last year. Yeah, they're still playing all right, but
they're getting their tackles. They're flying. But
they almost need to take that next step with this secondary
and help some of the pass rush. The fact that I'm sitting here with a better offense than any Iowa fan could have imagined in their entire lives, and the fact that we're 6-4 after last year, going 10-2. With the worst offense in the world is absurd. And all we lost was Cooper DeJean.
That's literally it.
That's it. And you look at the first downs, man. UCLA 23-12. Make no mistake about this. UCLA won by 3. Felt like they dominated this game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And they got off to a really rough start, Sam. It was 10-0 Iowa before UCLA had their bearings. And then obviously in the second quarter, they outscored Iowa 17-0.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just not good. Not good overall, and I can't believe we're here.
It's not like UCLA is that good of a team.
No, they're not. They're a pesky team. I think they're a little bit better than the record suggests.
Oh, absolutely.
They were 3-5 coming into this game, but this is not a team you should lose to.
Yeah.
No way, no how should you lose to this football team. And you did.
Yeah.
And you played like ass and you lost by 3. And that shows how much better of a team Iowa is, but they just played like ass.
Yep. Simple as that. But Tanner, you got any more comments on this game?
Nah, man. I'm just really frustrated, on how we got here. I'm not. It's that simple fact in my mind that this offense is so much better than we would have thought, and we suck.
Yeah.
Compared to last year, is just playing on repeat in my mind, and I cannot believe it.
Yeah, it sucks that we are here. I'm getting sick and tired of it. It's just unreal that we are at this situation. But moving on, let's hop on to the NFL side of things. We kicked off with an absolute banger. The Bengals versus the Ravens. Bengals drop to the Ravens after taking early control, looking like the dominant force. Looked like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow finally gelled together, and frankly, they did, Tanner, looking at stats, but they end up blowing a lead, and the Ravens take care of business 35-34.
A story of the Bengals season, I think. It's just so close yet so far. I mean, you remember that game against the Chiefs? They had a lead there, blew it. The first game against the Ravens, they had a lead there, blew it. That's just how this season has gone. This Bengals offense is really damn good, man.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is back to playing MVP level football and has been for a couple weeks now, but the defense cannot stop a damn nosebleed, especially late in the game. And this is what happens. I mean, the Ravens, a few weeks back, I called them the best team in football. I think they're the class of the AFC. We talk about the Chiefs, whatever. They're undefeated, sure. The Ravens, man, they have been taking care of freaking business every single time out since the first couple weeks. So I think this Ravens team is really freaking good. I think it's the best in the AFC, and you can't leave the door open for a comeback against this team because they will take advantage, and that's exactly what happened. So, if you're the Bengals, it's just an absolutely crushing loss. But I have no problem with the decision to go for two. It's what I would have done. I don't think you want to go to overtime versus this team. I have no problem with the decision to go for two, but I not much more than this is just how the season's gone for the Bengals. Their offense has looked awesome. Their defense has choked it away, and they can't hold on to leads.
Yeah. I mean, if you just strictly look at the stats, you're wondering how the Bengals ended up losing this game. It seemed pretty split down the middle. Obviously, when the rushing yards there's a 50-yard discrepancy. You kind of expect that when one side has Derrick Henry and the
best rushing game,
and the other side has Chase Brown. But yeah, man, it's I think you nailed it on the head. Crushing defeat for the Bengals, who have had an up and down season all year. This would have been a huge win. They seemed in control for majority, and then the fourth quarter, the Ravens finally got going and ended up pulling this one out.
So it's the story of the season.
But moving on to Sunday, the Broncos keep it close with the Chiefs. But the Chiefs do their voodoo magic and somehow, some way, pull this one out 16-14.
Yeah, this is the how do they keep getting away with the game? It's the Breaking Bad meme. I mean, it's just the Chiefs didn't play well. They simply didn't. They haven't for a few weeks now. They just find ways to win because this team is expertly put together. It's expertly put together. Obviously, we know what Mahomes can do. Whether he's been good this year, whether he's been bad this year, whatever. The Chiefs offense will always be good enough to win you football games when you have number 15 under center. Now, they went ahead and they built probably the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
So now you have a team where all their weapons got hurt. No Rashee Rice, no Isaiah Pacheco. Does not matter because they have Chris Jones, who's just going to wreck a game. They have really good guy Trent McDuffie in the secondary. They have George Karlaftis coming off the end, who they drafted. I mean, their defense is homegrown. It's drafted, and it is damn freaking good. And they have won multiple games. Don't get it twisted. This defense has won multiple games for the Kansas City Chiefs this year. One of them being the Bengals with a scoop and score in a critical moment when the Bengals had a big lead. So this Chiefs defense is the best in football, and they are, along with the best quarterback in the NFL. He still is. I know he's not playing well. Lamar's playing better. Whatever. Mahomes, obviously, still the best quarterback in the NFL. That offense plus this defense equals 9-0. Doesn't matter how you do it. They're getting it done because they're the Kansas City freaking Chiefs, and that's just what they do.
Yeah, absolutely, Tanner. It comes down to one. They just get done. Came down to one play. They got a blocked field goal. That's how you win games. You make plays when you need a big play.
Yeah, there is. If you give the Chiefs an inch, they truly will take a mile. There's just any opportunities you give them, the game's over at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. But moving on, another close one, Tanner, came down to the wire. The Steelers get a big win over the Commanders, 28-27. Talk to me.
Steelers might be good. The Steelers might be good.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin is the best.
He really is.
Mike Tomlin is so unbelievably good at coaching football.
There's no reason the Steelers should be where they're at.
There's no reason. There's no reason. And I feel bad for Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't playing bad, but it seemed like it might be the right decision. Russell Wilson is playing good football. He's playing good football, and it's exactly what the Steelers need. And that throw to George Pickens for the touchdown was absurd.
Yeah.
Just an absolute dime, vintage Russell Wilson. And yeah, the Steelers are the Steelers, man. They're just they have great defense. They play great defense. They have, a two-headed monster in the backfield with Jalen Warren and Najee Harris. They're going to try to run the ball, but the way Russell Wilson's playing, they're going to light you up through the air too. When George Pickens is a very good wide receiver who is absolutely hilarious on the field. I don't know if you've seen some of these clips of him.
Oh yeah,
where he
thinks he's in the WWE.
Psycho. After one of the Russell Wilson threw a pick, he decided to just like completely. I don't even know the wrestling move, but freaking with TKO, is that a thing? That's not
RKO.
Boxing, right? RKO, that's what I'm looking for.
Go.
RKO, the freaking safety for no reason. It was pretty awesome. And then there was another stiff arm where he just was looking.
It's box
he was
office.
crazy. It's box office.
But a couple weeks ago, Justin Fields was the starting quarterback. Russell Wilson starting to get healthy. We're like, there's no way Mike Tomlin sits Fields the way he started. Looked like a rejuvenated Justin Fields. Seemed to be the guy we all were expecting coming out of college. And he's like, no, Russell Wilson's back. Let's bench Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be a great decision.
Coming off a 32-13 win over the Raiders, he decided to make the switch to Russell Wilson. And since he has, the Steelers are 3-0.
Yeah. And I think one of the more underrated acquisitions was Mike Williams.
I said to George Pickens, I think the game-winning touchdown was to Mike Williams.
It was a 32-yarder. So, I mean, dude, Mike Williams, everyone knows he's a dog. He was a dog with Justin Herbert, just couldn't stay healthy. So seeing him back on the field's freaking awesome. They also acquired Preston Smith, a solid linebacker to add to that already stellar defense. I mean, one word to describe Mike Tomlin: winner. He's 26-6 under the Steelers are 26-6 against rookie quarterbacks and have won their past 8 games coming out of a bye week, 14-4 career-wise under Tomlin. This dude is unbelievable.
The standard is the standard.
Made Jane Daniels so uncomfortable. 2 sacks by Cam Hayward. It's just when you think the Steelers are kind of going away for a little bit, they come right back in. With somehow, some way, they made Russell Wilson actually care about football and is playing what we saw him in Seattle, which was a top 8 quarterback for sure.
He's playing winning football, which is way more than you could have said with his time in Denver. So, yeah, I mean, I got nothing more to add. And obviously the commies. They were right there with them.
Yeah,
I mean the Commanders are don't get it twisted. We're talking about the Steelers. That's because they won the game.
Yeah,
but the Commanders, they got a big one this upcoming weekend for in that division. But they hung with the Steelers, and obviously there was a little bit of a controversial call on the spot. Who knows? But they were somewhat close to line up a field goal attempt of their own. So pretty evenly matched teams it looked like, but. You got to give all the props in the world to Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. There's just, as you said, no way they should be 7-2, but they are.
Yeah, somehow, some way. But speaking of teams that are 7-2, Tanner, your Minnesota Vikings had a peculiar situation on Sunday as they faced a Mac Jones-led Jaguars and eked one out, Tanner. 12-7. Sam Darnold. Yikes.
Yeah, no, it was not a good one from Sam Darnold. I tell you, we saw the Mac Jones led Jaguars. Like, yes, we should have killed the Jaguars, and obviously, I would like to make sure everyone knows that the reason this game was close was not because of Mac Jones. It was 100% because of Sam Darnold and Sam Darnold only. I mean, look at these team stats, Sam. I don't know if you have looked at this game, but the team stats: Minnesota Vikings 28 first downs. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 10. Total plays, Vikings, 82, Jags, 43. Total yards, 402 to 143. I mean,
how was this game close?
Time of possession, 42 to 18 minutes. I mean, Minnesota, let me be very clear on this. Minnesota dominated every aspect of this game. It's just they went 0 for 5 in the red zone, Sam.
They'll do it.
0 for 5.
They'll do it.
0 for 5 in the red zone, including 3 picks from Sam Darnold. Of course, the 0 for 5 is 0 touchdowns in 5 trips, and including, I believe, only 2 of the picks were red zone picks. Both of those in the end zone, by the way.
Yeah, lovely.
And then his third pick, I believe, was picked off at the 30, so just outside the red zone. He had 3 picks in plus territory. The Minnesota Vikings ran more plays in Jaguars territory than the Jaguars ran plays.
There you go.
This game went exactly how you expected it should be. It's just Sam Darnold threw it to the other team in the red zone. That's what happened. And it was incredibly frustrating. And yes, it's definitely nervous. And Sam Darnold's ability, not you, Sam Darnold's ability to protect the football is a major concern going forward. And it could cost Minnesota in some big games because you still got a lot of work to do in that division. Obviously, we know how good it is. Every game matters. So it might cost you games in that division and potentially in the playoffs with his ability to protect the ball. But let's not get it twisted here. The Vikings and the Jaguars are not the same caliber football team, and the stats show that. It's just the score didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned because they almost lost. However, it's obviously less concerning when you dominated every aspect of this. If you play down to them, we're in real trouble now.
Yeah.
But you didn't. You dominated them. You just didn't score touchdowns.
Didn't score.
And which is kind of the same story that happened last weekend, 2 weekends ago against Indianapolis, by the way. Darnold threw more picks. He's got 6 interceptions this year inside the opponent's 25. 6.
Not great.
No, not good at all.
Not great.
Not good at all. So that really needs to be shored up, but it's much easier. It's much better to win, it's much better. Obviously, it's much better to win. It's much better to learn from a win than a loss. So they still found a way to get the win. Good teams win that football game. That's what they do, but it's got to be better.
Yeah.
From Sam. And that's the thing, is because everyone else was awesome. The run game was great. Aaron Jones, great. Cam Akers, great. Ty Chandler came in, great. Defense, every single person on that defense played out of their minds.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold was doing what it didn't.
Absolutely, Tanner. Speaking of playing horribly, the Dallas Cowboys. Let's hop right into it. The Eagles absolutely kicked the shit out of the Cowboys. 34-6, probably could have been 55-6. It was never a game, Tanner. Turns out Cooper Rush sucks. 13 for 23, 45 yards. Trey Lance also sucks. Rico Dowdle, guess what? Sucks. Zeke Elliott sucks. I mean, dude, this team is so freaking bad, Tanner. And 146 yards total. 49 passing yards, 97 rushing yards. 11 first downs, 3 for 14, third down. We went 2 for 2 on fourth down, so. 3 sacks allowed. And then the real reason the Eagles put up 34, 5 turnovers, 4 fumbles, 1 interception. It's hard to win. Hard to even compete when you do that. And looking on the other side of things, like Jalen Hurts, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns. Okay. Had 56 rushing yard. Okay. He actually played pretty damn well. He had 4 touchdowns by himself. But Saquon, if I hold him to 14 carries for 66 yards, I'm ecstatic. No touchdowns, but we just kept giving them the ball in great situations, and the Eagles took care of business, and the season's over for the Cowboys.
You know what this game was, Sam? This was an Iowa game. This was Iowa versus Michigan in the Big Ten championship. Pick your year. Doesn't matter which one. The defense did not play bad at all. The defense did their job. In the first half, it was even sort of a game, and 14-6 at half.
Yeah,
and you know when it's close enough to where at halftime you're sitting there thinking, how are we in this?
Yeah,
like we weren't supposed to be, but our defense is playing well. Like we just need to figure it out on offense. That's the Iowa formula. And then in the second half, the offense continues to suck. They turn the ball over, and then the defense, after being on the field for so long, just eventually gives up points because you can't do it all day. I mean, they're on the field for 34 minutes. You just can't, in good scenarios, as you said, with all the turnovers. So, it was an Iowa game, and I don't think any blame should be given to the defense. As you said, kept Saquon in check for the most part. And I don't Jalen Hurts touchdowns mean nothing because they're 1 yard twist.
Yeah,
that means nothing. But it's just all the story of this game is the Cowboys offense.
Yeah,
because I don't think the Eagles played well enough to be the story of, wow, the Eagles kicked the shit out. They might be an NFC contender. No, it's this Cowboys offense. I know Mike Zimmer's sitting there like, what the hell would happen to the Cooper Rush I played?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was bad. He was not good. And another big story, Sam, the windows. Multiple people now.
It's crazy how they never thought of that.
Jesus. But they actually have, when they have concerts in there.
Yeah.
They have curtains that they put up for the concerts.
Yeah.
So, but not during the football.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But
because that, to be fair, though, I will say, because that would have changed the game completely if CD Lamb caught that pass.
Correct.
They would have put up 55 points if he caught that pass. Everyone knows that. Come on. But yeah, absolutely. When season's going poorly, you tend to blame everything except the actual play on the field. So
focus on the little thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, they just got to figure out their quarterback play because Dak ain't coming back this year. So you're gonna need to figure it out, or do you just completely punt? At this point, you go lose your next
pick for sure, and
just you just take your draft pick, which probably won't be for quarterback. But do you just tank? I mean, and then it's looking like number 1 overall right now. Be maybe the Giants. The Panthers have won 2 straight now. So
yeah,
I think Tankathon right now would have the Giants at 1, which they'll probably take a quarterback. So, I mean, if you're sitting there at 2 or 3, what's his name? Travis Hunter might be
there. Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's such a fun time to be. Football sucks.
Although in all seriousness, it's going to sting this year. But if you can just officially punt on this season, not win another game, have a high draft pick, it's the Warriors formula. That 1 year when everyone got hurt.
Yeah.
And then they had a high draft pick, and then they won the finals.
Yeah.
A year later. So it's the Warriors formula. It's all right. This year's lost. You have a good core. Just get healthy, figure it out, add a top draft pick, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. So right now on Tankathon, they have the Jags as the number one
the
pick.
Jags.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taking Travis Hunter, Shadur too.
Dude, that would be a bad one because you'd need number one to be a quarterback team. Otherwise, yeah.
So right now, 11 is where they have the Cowboys and taking the best running back in college football, Ashton Jonty.
Really?
Which fair.
Yeah, they need
one
Russian. Yeah.
But yeah,
they do. I think my personal priority would probably be defense over running back because Jonty's good, but I feel like, a second or third round running back is just as serviceable. You're talking about, impact positions, but still, I mean, Jonty would be a big pickup because the Cowboys cannot run the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. But you mentioned it's better to learn from a win than a loss, and that's exactly what the Lions did on Sunday night as they beat the Texans 26-23, despite Goff playing one of his worst games of career, throwing 5 interceptions. Tanner, talk to me.
I don't want to because this is scary. This is really scary stuff. If the Lions can win a game with Jared Goff playing this poorly, I mean, we talked about it multiple times. I think he was a player of the week because of his ability to just not throw incomplete passes.
Yeah.
How efficient he's been at the quarterback position and how important that is to the Lions as an offense. Well, he wasn't. He was 15 for 30 in this game. Most incompletions I've ever seen him throw ever, or at least in a Lions uniform, and 5 of those picks. And they still won. And it's not like it was a Vikings game where they won, where they, won 12-7. No, they still put up 26 points.
Uh-huh.
They still put up 26 points, and they're just so unbelievably good. They just have an embarrassment of riches all over the place on the football field, and they can beat you. This is the evidence in any way they want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scary stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, Tanner, it was 23-7 at half with the Texans moving the ball with pretty regularity. Couldn't finish drives, but got points regardless. And then the Lions defense decided to show up.
0 points.
0 points in the second half. This game really came down to kicking. Jake Bates stepped up big, hitting a 52 and a 58-yarder. Got late in this game, hit the game winner from 52. So huge shout out to Jake Bates. But this game was crazy.
Yeah, no, this is the game where, as I said, just the main takeaway is, well, what the hell do we do now? Because it doesn't matter if he doesn't play well; they're still going to win. So what the hell do we do? Best team in football, and if they don't win it this year, I don't know what to tell you, Lions.
I don't know how they don't. I mean, we've seen them win ugly games. We've seen them be dominant. We've seen them win every possible way, Tanner. And they just keep getting win after win after win. And
they even you said we've seen them dominate, throw the ball over the field. We've seen them win ugly like this with 5 picks. We've seen them last week against the Packers where it was a torrential downpour. They're like, okay, that's fine. We'll just run the ball.
Yeah.
Shoved it down the Packers' throats and just completely took control of that game. So, as you said, we've seen them do it every way.
And looking at the rest of their schedule, Tanner, they got probably won't have the Lawrence-less Jags, more than likely. They play the Colts, who have been one of the weirdest teams this year. They play the Bears, who we all know their troubles. Then they play the Packers at home, the Bills at home, then go to Chicago, go to San Fran. That'll be an interesting one. Seems like the 49ers are finally getting healthy. And then they finish the season against the Vikings, who knows how that one's going to play out.
And the important thing to look at, I mean, you're looking at these games, who are the tough ones? Okay, the Packers are tough.
Yeah.
Packers are tough. Bills are tough. 49ers are tough. Vikings are tough, right?
Yeah.
You'd say those are the 4 games. 3 of them are home.
Yeah, that's huge.
They've gotten all their away games out of the way. 1 at Minnesota, 1 at Green Bay.
And obviously, NFL and college definitely different when it comes to home field, but it's evident in Detroit.
Specifically with the Lions, though, because Jared Goff, we know his troubles outdoors. We know how much he loves to play indoors.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Absolutely. It's going to be very interesting to see how this team ends the season, kind of wraps it up, because they are one of the best in the league and look to be that way regardless of the situations they're put in.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They'll win. They'll find a way to win because of the talent all over the field.
But Tanner, let's wrap it up, our football talk, with players of the week. Who is your college football player of the week?
Yeah, Sam, we're going to get into that, of course. My player of the week is Jalen Milroe of Alabama. Ready for this stat line, Sam? 12 for 18 and 109 yards.
Hell yeah.
That was his passing stat line. However, his rushing stat line, 12 carries, 185 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
It's not bad.
That's not bad. What is the theme of the episode? It's easier to run the ball than pass the ball. So if you can't stop it, you're just going to run the ball. And Jalen Milroe did that unbelievably well. About 10 and a half yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. Anytime you do that, you're going to be the player of the week, no matter how unimpressive your passing stats look. He was the best player on the field in this game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And in a big game, kind of has been a rivalry forever.
Big time rivalry and a complete and utter shit pumping.
Yeah, absolutely. And
on the road.
In a game where they needed.
Yep. And a game they needed and a big time rivalry on the road, and he just kicked their ass.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, for my player of the week, we tend to highlight a lot of these big performances. Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart, Cam Ward, those kind of guys, which deservingly so, they ball out against the best competition. But I'm going to dominate the ECU quarterback, Katin Houser. He went 17 for 22, Tanner. 343 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, baby. That's it. Anytime you throw for 5 tutties, that's crazy.
Yeah. And doing it in such an efficient way is just unbelievable.
What was it, 17 completions?
17 completions.
So essentially a quarter of his completions were touchdowns?
Yeah.
Or almost a third, right? 5 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Every 3 passes, he was throwing a touchdown.
I bet.
That's nuts.
Oh,
Excuse me, every 5 passes, he's throwing a touchdown.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Shout out Katin Houser for his performance against FAU because he definitely deserved it. But Tanner, let's go on the pro side of things. Who you got?
Yeah, man. You know, as you said, there are all these crazy performances that we like to highlight, and deservedly so. But Sam, I'm going to highlight someone who just flat out had a good day and frankly had a good week. And I'm going to highlight someone on a team that never gets any spotlight, but this guy has just been a damn good ball player, and he's finally receiving the fruits of his labor. I'm going with Chubba Hubbard of the Carolina Panthers because this guy has been the best player on the Panthers by far, the lone bright spot in the offense. He was an absolute workhorse against the Giants in Germany. 28 carries, 153 yards, and a touchdown. In total, the Panthers had 306. He had 153. That's exactly.
Oh my God.
Via the rush. And I'm sure he had some receiving yards too. He added 16 receiving yards. So 153. I'm bringing up the calculator app. 153 plus 16 divided by 306. Oh, shoot. That's 3.6 divided by 306. 55% of the yards
That ain't bad.
from the Panthers was on the back of Chubba Hubbard. And I said he had a good week because he got an extension this past week. He earned a big time little payday, especially for running backs. I believe he got a 4-year, $33 million extension. Which I had up, but 4-year, $33.2 million. So a position that doesn't get paid, a team that's never in the spotlight. They're rewarding the best player on their team, and it took one game for them to be validated and be like, yeah, he got 55% of our yards. This guy's really good. So shout out Chubba Hubbard. Doesn't get the spotlight a lot, but he deserves to be player of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. That's insane. Speaking of guys, this guy, my player of the week, lives in the spotlight. Has so since college, probably before that. That man, Jamar Chase Tanner.
He went so stupid.
Probably the craziest performance of football in general. He had 11 receptions for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns, Tanner. Not to mention, for those of you who play fantasy football, 55.3 fantasy points. An absolutely ridiculous performance, Tanner. Jamar Chase, man.
Yeah. Now, this isn't. Why is it that the best wide receiver performance of the week is always on the losing team?
Yeah.
Jamar, Jackson Smith, and Jigba last week. Remember, it started with Juwan Jennings.
Yeah.
All that a couple of weeks ago, and I guarantee you, if we were not putting that stock into who won the game, we probably would have had 2 or 3 more.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Whenever there's one guy that stands out, be like, yeah, that guy had the best week. His team lost.
Yeah,
it seems like
it's tough.
Yeah,
it is no doubt about tough. But you ready to get into some pick'ems, Tanner?
Of course.
So unfortunately, we had kind of a short time period. Trying to get this episode out for y'all. It's been a crazy past couple of weeks, so we unfortunately don't have a guest picker, but a little update on the pick'em records. It's been a while since we have updated y'all. It was kind of a tough week last week. I got 6 points. Tanner got 4 points.
Yikes.
Ryan, who has previously been on the episode, he's our NFL draft guy, so he'll be on in a couple months from now. He went 4-4, missed that Superdog, so that streak comes to end. But to be fair, none of us hit our Superdog. But Tanner, you have a record of 60-27 for 73 points. I have a record of 54-33 with 65 points. You are 5-6 on your Superdog, and I am 4-7. So not great across the board this week, but hey, let's improve that. And as of course, Ron is still sitting 8-0 with 8 total points, leading our guest picker list. But Tanner, let's hop right into it. Not a great slate for college football, so we're going to kick it off with Tulane
SEC bye week
versus Navy. Who you got here?
Yeah, this is a interesting one. Obviously, a kind of a big time battle in the American. Looks to be the 2 best teams in the American. I mean, obviously, well, except for keep forgetting that Army joined the American.
Yeah.
But other than Army, they're sitting in that 2 and that 3 spot. You know, I went back and forth. I think I got to roll with the hot hand, and that's going to be the Tulane Green Wave. So I'm going to go with Tulane over Navy.
Disgusting. Absolutely.
Rather than American. I do.
Coming off of Veterans Day, you go against the Navy.
I do.
I'm not going to do that. Give me Navy. Blake Horvath is the guy for Navy. A couple weeks
He's that ago, guy, pal.
He was the player of the week. I expect a big game. They've kind of had a up and down past couple weeks. But give me Navy in this one. But moving on to some ACC action, Tanner, we have Clemson is a 10-point favorite going to Pitt. Who you got here?
Oh man, this is another interesting one. I mean, the ACC this season has been such a crapshoot. Clemson, I've been kind of vocal about how I thought they were a little underrated. They come out and they lose a big one a couple weeks ago to Louisville at home. So this Clemson team is one I've stuck with all year, and I'm going to go with my gut. Pitt. The record looks good. They are just another strange team. Losses to Virginia, lost to SMU. They've lost two straight after starting out 7-0. I think the slide continues, and I'm going with Clemson. I just think there's too much talent. Cade Klubnik is playing good football. I think they fixed their issues from their loss against Louisville, so I'm going to go with Clemson on the road.
Yeah, I love that pick. It seems these past couple years, Clemson has kind of been flying under the radar. We all know the NIL BS with Dabo, but they're still sticking around. So, not obviously the team we saw a couple years ago where they were competing for national titles, but Cade Klubnik is that guy. Give me Clemson here. Moving on, though, we go down to the only SEC matchup that isn't like Alabama versus Mercer or anything like that. We got Missouri, 23 ranked Missouri taking on the Gamecocks of South Carolina, ranked 21 in the newest college football rankings. The Gamecocks are favored by 12 points, but who you got here?
That spread kind of confuses me. But I'm going to go with South Carolina at home. I mean, I think Columbia has been rocking this year, and Missouri, man, what a disappointing season from Missouri. They got a big time win last week. I don't know if you watched the final 5 minutes of that game last week against Oklahoma, but that was insane. But I don't believe in this Missouri team, especially not on the road. I got to go with South Carolina.
Yeah, I unfortunately agree with you, Tanner. This Missouri team at the beginning of the year was kind of going to be competing with Tennessee, Bama,
top 10
top 10
for the first couple of weeks, playing like it too.
Yeah, and it seems that Cook has kind of lost his touch as of late. What is it, Cook? Yeah. He got benched against when he played Alabama after he got smacked. It's just been a rough go for Missouri, and for the Gamecocks, they've kind of been on the up and up, losing a very close one to Alabama. Only lost by 2, beating the crap out of Oklahoma, beating the crap out of A&M, beating a tough Vandy team who we obviously saw upset Bama not too long ago. So give me the Gamecocks here. I hate agreeing with you, but it's hard to go against these Gamecocks right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Battling in the SEC as well, another great matchup. We got Tennessee going down to Athens to take on the Bulldogs coming off that rough week. Tennessee ranked 7th in the newest rankings. Georgia 12. Georgia is favored though by 10. Who you got here?
File Tennessee in that same category of team as one that I just think overall they're probably a little disappointed with their season. And I just haven't been that impressed. Early on, I was very impressed with Tennessee. I thought Nico was that dude. He's really struggled in SEC play, and Tennessee has really failed to separate themselves in any way from the rest of the SEC. So, I mean, with that, I just don't trust this team, especially not on the road. I mean, Tennessee has been home 1, 2, 3, 4 straight games, Sam, and the last one on the road at Arkansas, where they lost. So I just don't trust this team going on the road. Georgia, I think they figure it out at home. I don't think this is by any means a complete domination, but give me Georgia to win this one at home. They get right a little bit, and the slide continues. I mean, I say the slide; they're 8-1. They just
Yeah.
haven't, you know what I mean? They've lacked something to show you that they're an elite team in this SEC. So I'm going to go with Georgia.
We finally disagreed, Tanner. I think, and I totally agree with you, Nico hasn't looked amazing, but what better opportunity to go down to Athens and pull out a huge victory, helping them move up in those rankings, make a statement win under a young quarterback, Nico Iamaleava. We all know he has the talent. It's just, when is that talent going to shine bright? And I think this is a perfect opportunity. And frankly, Tanner, as much as you don't trust Nico, I don't really trust Carson Beck either. So give me Tennessee here. Rocky Top, baby.
I just think, I think my takeaway is that I think that Tennessee offense struggles. And I think the Georgia defense is the one that
absolutely
really gets this win.
Absolutely. But let's go to Sunday action, the NFL. We got the Commanders coming off a tough loss against the Steelers, and the Eagles, who have kind of revived their season with just some absolute domination the past couple of weeks. But Tanner, who you got?
No, unfortunately not. No left hand up this week. I have the Eagles. I think this team has figured it out, and I think even from the start, this team was way too talented to play the level of football that we saw early on in the season. Obviously, they were really injured at that time, so that probably played into it. But I mean, AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, those three are a very talented trio. And I think those three carry the Eagles against the Commies. Give me the Eagles at home to take full control of this division. Give me the Eagles.
Left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders. Give me the Commanders here, man. As dominant as the Eagles have looked these past couple weeks, you got to take a look at who they played. The Cowboys, Jags. I'll give them the Bengals, the Giants, and the Browns. Those are their past couple wins. Not the greatest of competition.
The teams have not been good.
Right. Especially being a division game. I think the Commanders are kind of shooting themselves kind of pissed off about last week. They seem to be in control, and they just kind of blew it late in the game. So I think Jane Daniels kind of has a bounce back game here. And so give me the Commanders kind of getting that needed win. They've kind of been on the slide lately. So give me the Commanders. But moving on, we have one of the most heated rivalries in the NFL. The Ravens taking on the Steelers. The Ravens making that comeback against the Bengals. The Steelers beating the Commanders late. Both are playing really hot right now. Tanner, who you got?
Jeez, this is a really tough one to pick. But I know Pittsburgh's going to be pumping. They're going to be loud. There's just one thing that leads me to go one way. That's the time. If this was a Sunday night football game, I'm going Steelers, and I'm going comfortably. Not comfortable because it's the freaking Ravens on the other side, but something about night games in Pittsburgh, black sky, the black jerseys, it all seems to work. During the day, not so fast. I think the Ravens get the win in Pittsburgh. They continue to be the best team in that division, despite what the records say, the best team in that conference, despite what the records say, and they get a big road win. I think time plays a factor here, given the old college football argument, big noon kickoff versus night games.
There you go.
But I just don't think the vibe in Pittsburgh in particular, which is, it's probably as close to a college atmosphere as you're going to get in the NFL. And I don't think the time of day is best case scenario for the Steelers. So give me the Ravens in Pittsburgh.
Not so fast, my friend. I am loving what I've seen from this Steelers team, man.
Can't blame you.
Russell Wilson, Najee Harris, George Pickens has decided he likes football again. The addition of Mike Williams, I touched on it earlier. Somehow, and I totally agree with you, Tanner. The Ravens just seem to be the better football team.
Better football team doesn't always win.
But Mike Tomlin
is
why I go with the Steelers.
Mike Tomlin is a dog.
Coaches in the NFL. I think he has some tricks up his sleeve this game. Has a scheme to at least contain that backfield of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. So give me the Steelers here at home. But moving on, Tanner, we have a great game. Chiefs versus Bills, excuse me. The Chiefs somehow, some way keep getting it done. Come into this one undefeated. The Bills struggled a little bit with Josh Allen making some turnovers last week, but they face off this week. Who you got?
Nobody circles the wagons
like the
Buffalo Bills, baby. Yeah, I mean, I'll take some of the blame. I've said multiple times the Ravens are the best team in the AFC, and a lot of times they get brought up against the Chiefs because they're undefeated. Buffalo freaking Bills are 8-2, man. And let's not forget what number 17 can do for the Buffalo Bills, who have been playing unbelievable football. And I mean, this Bills team is really good, and I think they take care of business at home. I mean, it's gonna happen eventually. They have to lose eventually. They're not going to go undefeated. The team, just simply put, isn't good enough to go undefeated this year. That, of course, being the Chiefs. So I think the Bills get this done at home. They have just really taken care of business throughout most of the season. I mean, their two losses. They lost at Houston with a fully healthy Houston, I might add. And then they lost to the Ravens, who, again, I think is the best team in the AFC. So that resume speaks for itself. Give me the Buffalo Bills to hand the Chiefs their first loss.
Yeah, man. You mentioned number 17. Number 17 is 3-1 against the Chiefs in his career. I assume that's regular season, but still.
Yeah, it's probably not the playoffs. But, they always lose in the playoffs.
Come on, Sammy, you got to give me all of it.
But hey, this isn't the playoffs.
This isn't the playoffs. But I'm going to take a book out of my sister's page. The Chiefs just get it.
The Chiefs just get
it. Somehow, some way, some crazy shit's going to happen in this one. And the Chiefs are going to win.
I mean, all of these football minds are trying to piece together the black voodoo magic that the Chiefs are playing with right now. And I think Elizabeth just figured it out. I mean, she figured it out a couple weeks ago. They just get it. They always have and they always will. As long as 15's under center, they just get it.
Dude, they just get it. It's crazy, man, how this Chiefs season has gone. But last game we're going to pick here, the Bengals take on the Chargers. Bengals obviously lighting up that disappointing loss against the Ravens. The Chargers sneakily have a great record on the season. But Tanner, who you got?
Man, another tough one, in my opinion. And look, I think this is poised for a Bengals letdown. So give me the Chargers at home. I think this is a Harbaugh special, a team that loves to throw the ball, a team that maybe isn't the toughest in the trenches, a team that's all outside. This is a Harbaugh special where they punch him in the mouth. They keep running the ball, a heavy dose of J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. And I think the Chargers take care of business. And this is the point where after they lose this game, the Bengals season is officially over. So give me the Chargers to do that to the Bengals at home. It's in a Harbaugh special.
Not so fast. Give me the Bengals. Two people is all I need. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. I don't think the Chargers are going to have an answer for them to. I expect Jamar Chase to pick up exactly where he left off last game. Gonna have another great game. So give me the Bengals here. But Tanner, that leads us to the moment everyone's been waiting for. Who is your Superdog of the week.
Man, this has been a rough stretch for the boys with Superdogs. And Sam, let's go ahead and kick a team while they are down. LSU coming off of an embarrassment against Alabama. Then they got to turn around and go on the road against a Florida team that we all thought were dead in the water a couple short weeks ago. Well, they have decided to come out and actually play football. And while the record still isn't great, they're 4-5. They've put together some encouraging games recently. They kind of got wiped the floor with by Texas. So a lot of teams have. Georgia, they put up a fight in Georgia, covered the spread in that game, beat the piss out of Kentucky, sent Tennessee to overtime in Tennessee. This team is starting to figure things out. This was a team, mind you, that got eviscerated by Texas A&M, eviscerated by Miami. I think Florida gets it done at home against LSU. They're 4-point dogs. I think they win the game outright. Give me Florida +4 against LSU. While they're down, Brian Kelly loses another big-time road conference game, and the Gators get it done.
I like it. I was looking at that one myself, Tanner. I really like that. I think LSU is severely overrated. We saw what happened to them last week. I think that trend could very well continue this weekend. But for my Superdog, I'm going to go with an ugly matchup here, Tanner.
Let's get sick.
Let's get disgustingly gross. I'm going to go to the Big Ten against two teams that have sucked past like 5
I love it.
Give me Rutgers +5.5 versus Maryland.
All right.
Do I think Rutgers are going to win? Probably not. But 5.5 seems a lot for these two teams. Maryland, looking at their schedule, got beat 39-18 to Oregon against Minnesota 48-23. They beat USC by 1. They gave up 37 to Northwestern, 37-10, Indiana 42-28. And then you look at Rutgers. Rutgers is just as bad, if not worse. Rutgers, they did beat Minnesota 26-19 last weekend, got beat by USC 42-20. UCLA 35-32, Wisconsin 42-7, Nebraska 14-7. These teams suck, Tanner. But I think they suck equally. So I think 5.5 is crazy. So give me Rutgers +5.5.
I love it. Let's get sick. That's what the Big Ten is for.
Disgusting.
Absolute sickos. I mean, you look at some recent common opponents. Maryland got destroyed by Minnesota. Rutgers beat them. So
yeah,
we all know if one thing's true about sports, the transitive property always holds.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, no, it's that. I like it. Let's get weird. Let's get ugly. Why not? We've tried in the past. Hasn't worked for us in the past.
Yeah,
but hopefully
it worked for Robbie a couple weeks ago. He had Air Force who
right.
2-6 or something at that point against Army, who was a top 25 team not too long ago.
And they covered that.
2.5.
Yeah,
covered with ease. So hey, it works. We'll see how that one goes, but unfortunately, no questions of the episode this week. But we'll hopefully be back with those. But let's get wrap it up for episode 148, Tanner.
Can I say one more thing?
Go for it.
Just because we didn't have an episode last week, I didn't get my chance to laugh. Let's all take a second and laugh at the New York Yankees, shall we? You went out so They went out so sad. That fifth inning will live on in infamy in New York Yankees lore. Aaron Judge dropping a fly ball and the comeback from the Los Angeles Dodgers, including Garrett Cole would have been out of the inning, decided not to cover first. Just an all-time comeback. It went so perfect. A sweep would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But this is so much better because after the Yankees went up 5-0, Yankees fans convinced themselves they were coming back. So the Dodgers come back, just crushed them all that much more. And at the bottom line, at the end of the day, Mets still won more games against the Dodgers than the Yankees did. Mets went to 6, Yankees went to 5. Absolutely awesome. They went out so sad, and I didn't get my chance to laugh. So
of course, I completely. Been a while, so it seems that was so long.
I know.
That's crazy. But I'm glad we fit that in there, Tanner. College basketball's underway. Y'all this game's gonna be over, but Duke, y'all need to watch Duke. This Cooper Flag dude is unbelievable, and their center, Common Malik, or however you say his name's an absolute beast. So college basketball, I know it's super early, but the Maui Invitational is right around the corner.
Yeah,
so
we have some awesome matchups with the tournaments. God. I believe when this comes out on Thursday, which I think UConn and North Carolina play soon.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken.
I was hooping, though. 42-36 to South Dakota at half.
Shoot. UConn and North Carolina play in women's basketball. I got God.
Hey. It happens.
I got God.
It happens. But college basketball full swing, college football wrapping up, NFL in the swing of things. It's awesome to be a sports fan, and we got all here for you on Crunch Time. But that's going to wrap it up for episode 148. Talked about a lot. Talked about the ups and downs of college football, the ups and downs and the downright abysmal, but somehow still win performance in the NFL. Nominated some player of the week, and of course, wrapped up with some pick'em. But the clock has run out on this episode, but we'll see you on the next one on Crunch Time.
I'll see you.